These two motions being moved. I feel personally that I think it was very disrespectful of, in the memory of Sir Julius, because as you know, these two amendments were moved previously, and there was some opposition. And you'll find that with government, when it comes to constitutional amendments, the members in government caucus, if they want to object, they basically don't turn up to give the numbers. What had happened, I think, yesterday was very opportunistic of the government, using the condolence occasion for Sir Julius, which I think most of the members of parliament turned up to show their respects. They realized they had the numbers and it was difficult for their members to leave. So they brought both motions to the floor. In fact, if you go back through your footage, you'll find that it was a last-minute decision. You could see the Prime Minister signaling to the leader of government business, Mr. Tsiamalili, to bring both motions forward. Now, the net effect is that, and this is the thing, you know, I find it really hypocritical that a lot of the members of parliament, particularly in government, spoke very nicely about the founding fathers, and they forget that the founding fathers wrote this constitution. Yeah. Basically, and on the same day, 1 minute after praising the wisdom of the founding fathers, they then found that their wisdom wasn't sufficient and they decided to amend the constitution.
Scandalized.
Not once but twice, you know, within a space of about 10 minutes. And that's probably some kind of record in the entire world where a constitution is amended twice in the space of 10 minutes. So I think I felt I had to say that, you know, because the other thing is that Sir Julius was a member of the opposition, and if he was here, he would have opposed those changes. And so I thought it was very hypocritical for them to say one thing in his memory, and then their actions are then totally contrary. I thought that was really disrespectful. But moving on, you know, just to affirm what the opposition deputy leader has said, the fact of the matter is that these constitutional changes are intended just to support one man. And I want the Christians out there to understand this. The amendment to the Constitution for Christianity is actually, in my view, it contravenes Section 45 of the Constitution. The people that wrote this Constitution, and the father of the Constitution is still alive today, Dr. John Morris. And I think the media should actually interview this great man and get his thoughts on what they were thinking when they wrote the Constitution. Why did they do what they did? I think that what we've done yesterday was totally disrespectful of all the founding fathers. The Constitution should only be amended when absolutely necessary. And the other thing is that we shouldn't make it very easy to amend the Constitution like the way we are doing it now. This is really easy. You'll find that, and if you go and you check with members of government, you'll find that, you know, they're getting ready to pay them DSIP and PSIP funds now in this parliament. And I feel that that's an inducement to force them to come to pick up the money and then to vote. And in support of all of these faulty legislations and faulty amendments. It's wrong. And therefore we need to stand up to it. I think that's the key message. And you've got your loyal opposition here. We intend to stand up against it. Again, you know, in memory and out of respect for our founding fathers, we need to stand up against this. The Constitution is actually meant to protect the people from politicians. Now you find politicians are amending the Constitution to suit themselves.
That's it.
Working against the people. And the people of Papua New Guinea need to understand this. Constitution only right him, lo protect him, yupla. Lo kain ol passing, lo mipla o lo wogim now.
Very true.
That's what it's there for. Constitutions around the world are meant to protect the people, not members of parliament.
Yep, very true.
The amendment to Section 145 is to protect one man, the Prime Minister. It essentially eliminates, this amendment eliminates all of your potential votes of no confidence, notwithstanding you have the Private Business Committee, which was put in place to prevent votes of no confidence in the first place. And on top of all of that, so now you only have one opportunity, essentially, when you think about it, in every term of parliament for a vote of no confidence. The right to dissent, the right to disagree with the government was essentially removed yesterday. So now, what it means is that members of parliament are becoming powerless to change a government. To change a government, the people have to do it on the streets. That's basically what that means yesterday. And it's something that, if you remember, when we stood outside in the front of the house and said, Julius himself, he said it, and you can go back and dig up your archives. He said this: he is afraid that the people will change the government themselves from the street. And so that's what that amendment, the net effect of that amendment will do. It will force changes of government out in the streets.
Correct.
Not on the floor.
Very true.
And that is essentially what the Constitution was trying to prevent when the founding fathers wrote the Constitution. And I think as members of the opposition, we have a duty to take it to the court and to put it in front of our Supreme Court. And I believe our Supreme Courts will rule in favor of the Constitution. Yumi bagrabi mogada something. Yumi sawe pinisusam. Yumi you ask you call him name blom la member of parliament. The public will say I'm corrupt. A man blow steal. A man blow making this la. Basically name blom la bagrabi. And then we are the same people that decide to protect ourselves.
That's right.
It's self-interest and it's wrong. So I think the judges will welcome us taking this to them for an interpretation. And I think we need to do it because
Absolutely correct.
And the question needs to be answered and it needs to be settled once and for all. And that's why we're doing it. We're not doing it now for our self-interest. We are doing it to protect the rights of future leaders who might come. Because here's the problem. Initially, if you remember Amendment Law Section 145, increase already got 3 years here. Initially, it was 6 years, protection law, 6 months, sorry. Protection law, Prime Minister. That was increased to 18 months. When nobody challenged it, there's like 18 months here, now we come up law here. Nobody challenged it. The opposition at the time did not challenge it. So that 18 months has now become a permanent change in the Constitution. None of us can challenge it anymore because nobody did. We've run out of time to challenge it. Now this amendment is supposed to not challenge him. Basically, as the Deputy Opposition Leader says, it only gives the opportunity for one vote of no confidence. So we have to challenge it. If we don't, it becomes a permanent fixture. Just like the 18 months change has now become permanent because nobody challenged it. So I just want the people to understand why we are challenging it. And the dangers that we face if we don't challenge it. And also the issue on the Christian bill. The Constitution under Section 45 guarantees the freedom of religion. Your choice. The change yesterday pushes us towards a fundamentalist Christian state. Now we all know the problems you have with fundamental churches of any kind, whether they be Muslim or Christian or it doesn't matter. And so we need to protect ourselves, all of us, from this kind of religious extremism. And therefore we have to challenge that amendment as well. Every Papua New Guinean and even people who choose to become citizens of Papua New Guinea must have the right of freedom of worship, like law. We cannot use a constitution to force everyone into one religion. Other countries have done that, and we can see the damage that has been done to those sorts of countries. And we can't go down the same path. Thank you.